podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, November 8th, 2020. This is episode 1744. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast comes to you from TWiT's LastPass studios. Securing every access point in your company does not have to be a challenge. LastPass unifies access and authentication to make securing your employees simple and secure, even when they're working remotely. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of the Tech Guy is brought to you by ESET. ESET protects businesses worldwide with internet security products and services backed by world-class research and tech support. Get an interactive demo right now at try.eset.com/twit and start your free trial today. And by Melissa. Like expired milk, 30% of your customers' data goes bad every year. And that's money down the drain. Visit Melissa's developer portal for free access to data quality APIs, demos, and code samples. Freshen up your sour data today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We've got your smartphones. We've got your smart watches. We've got all that jazz. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada if you want to call. If you want to call from outside those two nations, you can still do it, but you have to use Skype out or something to let you call a phone number in the U.S. And it should be free because it's a toll-free number. 8888 Ask Leo. Right before the show, a number of people texted me. I don't know why they thought of me, but a number of people said, oh, did you see the great Alex Trebek has passed away at the age of 80. So in honor of the host of Jeopardy for so many years and my personal idol, I shall give you all your answers as questions for the rest of the day. What is a solid-state disk drive, Alex? Yeah, that's sad. 8888 Ask Leo. We have a website, Techguylabs.com. That's the website to go to. If you hear something on the show and you want to get a link to it, you want to know what the answer was, we even put audio and video from the show after the fact. The entire show goes up there afterwards, and there's quite a few shows there now. 1,744. That's a good number, a good round number. The new iPhones, the minis, the new iPhones. Jeez. They dribbled it out, didn't they? There are 4 of them. 2 of them were available last month. 2 of them now are available. Went on pre-order on Friday for shipping if you ordered fast enough. By this coming Friday, I'll have my iPhone 12 Pro Max, the biggest iPhone ever made. But they also have a little one, not the littlest ever made, but pretty small, the iPhone Mini. Maxi, or Mini. The nice thing is they both have the high-quality chips in there. Apple's going to dominate the news next week, too, because on Tuesday they're having an event. They say in the invitation, oh, one more thing. But there's a little hint in it because, as they often have done lately in the last few events, it's a augmented reality invitation. So if you open it in Safari and hold it up, you can actually get a 3D image of the invitation. And it's an apple that tilts up, kind of like a laptop lid. In fact, that's pretty much what we've expected. Apple said that by the end of the year, they would announce their first Macs based on their chips, not Intel chips. They don't have a name for them, really. It's just Apple Silicon or an Apple chip. They don't like to use the word ARM. You may see ARM in some news stories and so forth. They're not ARM chips. It's kind of complicated the way it works. ARM, which is a company that Apple was in part founded many, many moons ago to make what they call RISC chips, reduced instruction set computing chips. And Apple pulled out of that. They sold off their stake a while ago. It was originally stood for Acorn RISC Machine because it was kind of based on the BBC computer with its Acorn chip. Now they say, no, it's not Acorn anymore. It's Advanced RISC machine. RISC is, it's a pretty technical acronym, reduced instruction set, versus CISC, complex instruction set. Intel chips are CISC. What that means is the very lowest level of the microprocessor. When you are writing programs for them, you have more choices. There's more commands, more complex commands available on the Intel side than there would be on the ARM side. It's a smaller, they call it an instruction set, a smaller instruction set. They do fewer things, but as a result, they're able often to operate at a lower power, lower heat. And because these things are so fast nowadays, they can, execute so many instructions that they can keep up with the CISC chips, even though they have a smaller instruction set. So this is kind of a geeky thing. It doesn't really matter. ARM doesn't make chips. They design them. And then they license them to people like Qualcomm and Samsung to make their version. Samsung has the Exynos. Qualcomm has a Snapdragon. Apple has a license. There are a couple of different kinds, but they have the highest level license called an architecture license, which means they can use anything that ARM does, but they can go well beyond that to make their own chips. And that's what Apple does. And the reason it's interesting, the reason I don't use the phrase ARM chip on these is because Apple is going to design these chips as what they call a SoC, system on a chip, to do everything in one kind of package, and it's going to be highly tuned to the environment. Now, this is not new to Apple because they started this in 2007 when they made the first iPhones. They've been making these chips. Then the iPad came out in 2010, same thing. So they have a lot of experience making these chips with the ARM architecture license, but tailored to exactly what they want. And as a result, if you have a modern iPhone or a modern iPad, you have a lot of horsepower in a mobile device. Low battery use, doesn't get hot, but is able to do an awful lot. And I think everybody's very interested to see what Apple does on Tuesday, what they announce. They put in their most recent iPad, they put a new chip, the A14, that is really much more than you would need in an iPad. It's more geek terms here. It's a 5 nanometer process. That's something Intel hasn't been able to do, which means you can get more transistors, a lot more on the chip. The transistors count in the current iPad Air is almost 12 billion. That's something about the size of your pinky fingernail. That's a lot of processors. 6 cores, so this is one of the ways you can make ARM more powerful, is have multiple cores, so they can take a task and divide it into, you do this, you do that, you do that, you do that, and when you're done, come back and we'll have the final result. So multiple cores, Intel's been doing that too, helps you in some cases, not all cases. They've also got the clock speed for each individual core higher and higher. That's something you can also do when you have a 5 nanometer process because you generate less heat. You become more efficient. Heat's the problem on these processors. They can only, if they get too hot, they're going to have to slow down. And actually, this is a problem. It's become a problem in laptops with Intel chips in them, even Apple's. Their most recent, the i9, you may remember a benchmarker said it runs much faster if I put it in the freezer. Not recommended, because the freezer keeps it cool. But as soon as those chips get to 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius, they have to slow down. They don't want to fry themselves. So in fact, I've said this. I don't know if it's if you remember, but when you're buying a laptop and you're looking at an Intel processor, the i7, you can overbuy because you can get a chip that theoretically can be very, very fast, but will never get that fast because the laptop can't keep it cool enough. So it has to throttle down. These throttling problems have been a problem on all PCs and all Macs based on Intel chips. That's going to probably go away with ARM. So we're going to be able to, we'll find out on Tuesday. There was a ghost benchmark at the Geekbench site that could be real, could be fake. A lot of times when you get close to a computer's release, you'll start to see these benchmarks show up by accident. Somebody at Apple ran it and went, oops, oh, I made it public or something. Or maybe not so accidentally. But whatever this was, it was an A14X Bionic was the label. Whatever it was, probably a new Mac laptop. It was faster than the fastest Intel Mac laptop already out of the box. So this is we'll watch this with interest. And if you haven't bought a Mac laptop and you're in the market, wait a minute. Hold on, as always. Wait till Tuesday. You know, Apple could very well say, and here's our great new laptops. They'll be available next year. In which case you might say, all right, well, I'll buy one now. Interesting, because Mac sales have been through the roof. A lot of people buying laptops, and I think there may be, you know, some of it may be, oh, we're working from home or we're doing school now. But I think some of it may also be, I'm going to get an Intel chip while Apple still makes it, because I don't know about these new chips. No one does. I'm very bullish. I think this will be very interesting. I think there's the potential of transforming the PC marketplace. Like, this is, wow. Sorry, Intel. Sorry, Intel. Bye-bye. We got a new champion. We'll see. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you want to talk high-tech. Well, I'm sure I'd love to talk high-tech with you. 888-827-5536. Remember, all my answers will come in the form of a question today. So don't be... But no, I'm not going to do that. I think that would be too hard. It's a miracle she shows up every day to do the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. She don't take no schnaffer. Hello, Kimmy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Are you a little chilly? You're wearing the flannel shirt.
Yeah, you know, it was 85 degrees on Thursday.
I know.
And
Winter's here.
Just showed up with not gradually, it just hit us like a smack in the face. So I've got the jeans and the boots, and it's probably the first time I've worn that kind of an outfit since February.
She's a lumberjack, and she's okay. Yeah. So Kim is the person who prepares you for your appearance on national radio. You have been preparing, I think, some people.
Yeah, and a little something different today. John actually has a tip for you.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so maybe this
makes my life easier.
Start your show off a little easier. You don't have to do the hard work.
Thank you, Kim. Hey, John, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Yeah, I know you've had callers in the past saying they couldn't get their keyboards or sometimes mouse to work on their Windows computer.
Yeah.
Or any computer for that matter.
Yeah.
I've got a tip on that. I don't know if you ever thought of this, but you can get a USB to PS2 adapter, and if you have a PS2 port on your motherboard, it will probably and should work. It bypasses most drivers that way.
Boy, that's a pretty old computer that does not have a USB port.
No, I mean, no, if you don't have if you have a PS2 port is what I mean. A USB to PS2 adapter to be able to get it to work when it don't work through USB on the keyboard.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. Is that what you're doing yourself?
I've had to do it once or twice when, like on Windows 7 on newer processors, for instance, you cannot get Windows 7 installed. And the reason I did is because I got older computer games that does not run on 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to do it that way, and it worked.
Yeah, because you have a computer that's so old, it doesn't have a USB port or it has a PS2 port. I don't think they make those anymore. But if you had one, yeah, it's easy to buy. These are inexpensive. Monoprice makes one. I'm kind of a fan of Monoprice, monoprice.com. I have one of those for one reason. I have a very old, and I love it. I love it. A very old IBM, one of those clickety-clackety keyboards. I bought it refurbished because I miss those old classic IBM clickety-clackety keyboards. So loud, you can't use it anywhere. You have to use it in the privacy of your own home. If I used it here, you'd think I was booking you on an airline or something. But I love it, and it's a PS2 connector. Actually, it might even be older than that. But I have an adapter that I use to turn it into USB. I'm not sure if you're recommending going from PS2 to USB. That would be a very old keyboard. Or from going from USB to PS2, that would be a very old computer. The PS2 interface goes way back in time to the original IBM PC. And the PC Junior. Remember the PC Junior? I think, John, we use a keyboard video mouse switch or KVM switch so that we can have multiple devices connected up to a single keyboard and mouse and monitor. Do those KVMs have PS2 ports on them anymore? They used to. Not the one we use. Yeah, it's all USB now. Well, I appreciate the tip, John. I'm sure there's some people out there who say, oh, Richard in Maple Ridge, Canada. Hello. What province is Maple Ridge in, Richard?
In BC.
BC. I love BC.
Just
Beautiful.
outside of Vancouver.
Very nice. What can I do for you, Richard?
Well, I have a couple of old Macs, and when I download something on the 2008 Mac Pro, it tends to knock all the computers offline. So is there any way I can limit the amount of bandwidth?
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So you have multiple computers. Are you in a single router?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it all goes out the same router.
Is it Wi-Fi or is it wired?
Wired.
Wired. And you get online with this 2008 Mac, and if you start downloading stuff, all the other guys go, I can't, I'm offline.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Or do they just slow down because you're using so much
down a lot.
bandwidth? Yeah.
Occasionally they just go offline, but
yeah, a router should not allow that. So I think that's a function not of the Mac, but your router. Make sure, for one thing, you're allowing each device to have its own IP address. That can be a problem. Normally, you'd get a warning, oh, you know, this IP address is used. If you're using what we call static IP addresses, IP address is your unique identifier. Now, when you're in the public world, it's your IP address is provided by your internet service provider. That's the one and only IP address you have. That's why you use a router, because maybe you have many devices inside the router that you're connecting to that single internet service provider. So you have a public IP, and then you internally have a private IP address. Those can begin with 10 dot or 192 dot. Those obviously can be duplicated. Everybody has a 192 dot something, because that's what most routers use. But it's invisible to the outside world because it's inside your network. But you should unless you have a good reason to, you should not choose what address you're going to use on any computer. You should let the router say, via what they call DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, it should say, okay, you're going to be 192.168.1.100. You're going to be 101. You're going to be 102. And it will keep them all unique. If you're assigning static addresses, there's a risk that you might duplicate. That could be one cause for this. I think you probably just need a better router. The idea is the router should not let any one device suck up all the bandwidth in the house. Now, maybe you have such low bandwidth that, there's nothing you can do about that. If your internet service provider is only giving you 5 megabits down, you start watching YouTube, nothing else is going to work very well. Sam Abuelsamid, my car guy, coming up next. I should probably mention our fine podcast sponsor, ESET. I am a big ESET fan. If you've been listening to the Tech Guy Show for any length of time, not only am I a big ESET fan, I've been an ESET fan for years. I didn't realize, though, we were still using ESET here at the TWiT studios. Every time I see Russell, our tech guy, our managed service provider, I say, Russell, ransomware is going crazy. Viruses are nuts. Are we safe? He says, Leo, we're safe. Leo, we're safe. Finally, I said, well, how do you know? He said, ESET. I said, you're using ESET? He said, yes, you're using ESET. You just didn't know it. For 30 years, ESET's been a global leader in cybersecurity. And yes, it's the provider we trust here at TWiT. As a small business, we want enterprise-grade security that doesn't slow us down or interfere with our workflow. And with most of our employees working from home, we need something that can keep on their computer, doesn't slow them down, doesn't get in the way, but catches all the new threats, ransomwares, even 0 days. ESET's a perfect fit for us. It has multiple layers of protection built in, a very light system footprint. You won't even know it's there. I didn't. And it's available on-prem or in the cloud. You can buy it directly. You could do what we did, buy it through your managed service provider, or get it through their ESET reseller program. It doesn't matter. Same great product. With ESET's Security Management Center, Russell can get a real-time overview of everything on and off-prem full reporting, automated security management for all our operating systems. And as long as he can get online, he can see what's going on. That's nice because he's not always on site, but he can always check. And I love what ESET's done with this new dynamic threat defense. It's another layer of security for ESET products like endpoint and mail security. They use cloud-based sandboxing technology to detect threats never seen before. These 0 days, it can identify a suspicious program. It executes and analyzes it in a sandbox cloud, and then if it's malicious, it blocks it, all before the malware reaches you or your network. Dynamic threat defense. It's amazing. It's one of the reasons I think ESET is just light years ahead of everybody else. If you take credit cards, it's PCI compliant, GLBA compliant if you handle customer financial transactions, HIPAA for healthcare. And ESET also offers a remote workforce bundle, which is great to protect your endpoints, your users out there. Top reviews from independent testing labs for minimal system impact and extremely accurate detection. It's a great fit for our small business. I think you should check them out. ESET understands the security needs and concerns of small to medium-sized businesses, SMBs like mine. That's why we trust ESET. Get an interactive demo right now for your business or your customers at try.eset.com/twit. There's a free trial there. You can try it as well. Try.eset.com/twit to future-proof your business. Try.eset, ESET.com/twit. Thank you, ESET, for keeping us safe. It's time for our car guy, Sam Abuelsamid. He is a principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights, hosts the Wheel Bearings podcast at wheelbearings.media, and it looks like you're snowed in Ypsilanti today.
Not today. It's actually it's been in the 70s for the last several days, and the sun is shining. But I know that won't last. It is November now. And that means that at least in many parts of the country, I know in many parts of the country, they actually have already been getting significant amounts of snowfall. This photo I took actually in my driveway a couple of years ago when I came back from the Chicago Auto Show. We had a blizzard on the day I was returning. And the day before, they had dropped off this Alfa Romeo in my driveway that has about 3 inches of ground clearance, and we got about 10 inches of snow. And
you ain't going anywhere in that Alfa.
So well.
No.
Yeah.
That's fun. I kind of miss snow, but then when you're in it, you realize, oh, you got to shovel it? Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. So do you want to talk about winterizing today, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I do, yeah. So, with colder weather coming, obviously, not so much in your neck of the woods, but certainly in a lot of parts of the country, places like Colorado and Minnesota have already been getting some significant snowfall, northern Michigan. There's a bunch of things that you should think about doing with your car before it gets too cold. Now's a good time to do it while it's still, hopefully fairly nice out. Things like, replace your windshield wipers. Windshield wipers, there are different kinds of windshield wipers. There are some that are labeled as, winter wipers.
Oh,
and it's just like with winter tires. Rubber, when it gets cold, rubber tends to stiffen up and it gets hard.
Yep.
And wipers only work good when they stay fairly pliable. And so, the winter windshield wipers are formulated a little bit differently. The rubber is formulated differently, so it stays a little more pliable when it's cold. And so it looks like you're getting a call.
Yeah, that's why it's good for the radio because, Sam's got somebody calling from far away over his face. It'll go away in a second. I don't know why, John. We got to figure out why that happens. Go ahead.
So, at the very least, put on new windshield wipers. You should do that about once a year anyway, because they do get worn down as you use them, and you end up with just getting streaks on your windshield, and that's not good. You want to maintain visibility. Make sure go buy a couple of gallons of windshield washer fluid. Put them in your garage. And top up the washer fluid tank in your car because, when you get snow and ice and even, mud, when the roads get a little dirty, you want to keep your windshield clear so you can see where you're going. Check your lights, check all your, turn on all your headlights and your turn signals and everything, walk around the car, make sure all your lights are working and, replace any bulbs that are burned out. your tires. We've talked about tires on numerous occasions before. If you even if you have all season tires, they're the classic, jack of all trades, master of none. But you want to make sure that you've got lots of tread life left in your tires. You can use a penny and stick it in in the tire, in the grooves in your tire. And if you can't, if it doesn't go in very far, it's usually like the rule of thumb is, if you have a Lincoln penny, and the tread doesn't block at least part of Lincoln's head, then the tires are too worn down. And you definitely don't want to be driving around in winter weather with tires that are worn out, because you won't get very good traction, and it's dangerous. You won't be able to stop and steer. So maybe time to go get a fresh set of tires. Or think about, if you do live someplace where there is a lot of snow, think about getting a set of winter tires to put on, and then replace those with summer tires in the spring.
Now, for us in California, none of this applies, right? We just drive like normal.
Well, I mean, it depends on where you are in California. I
guess if we're in the mountains, no, you're right.
Yeah, you're
right.
not that far from Tahoe.
Yeah, if you're going to Tahoe, you got to prepare. Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely snows up in the mountains.
That's true.
Even in Los Angeles, it's not that far. Up to the mountains, from Los Angeles to go skiing, or if you wanted to drive to Palm Springs, in the wintertime, you're going to go through the mountains, and you get snow up there. So you want to think about those things before you head out. If you don't live somewhere where you're going to be driving in snow all the time, like if you are somewhere like in California, for example, where you might occasionally go up into the mountains, to go for a ski weekend or something, you can get, it's not so much the traditional tire chains, but you can get things that you clamp onto your tire to give you a little extra traction. So as you're driving up towards the mountains, you can stick this device, it wraps around your tire, and then that gives some extra grip for when you're driving in snow. So there's a lot of these little things that you want to think about. Just do some general maintenance. Replace your air filter. It's a good time to just go through and go do all those little things that need to be done. From time to time as you use your car.
I just checked. It's 20 degrees and snowing in Mammoth Lakes, California. So you're right.
There you go.
I should probably get new windshield wipers.
Exactly. Even windshield wipers, things like windshield wipers, washer fluid. Even if you don't live somewhere where it ever snows, if it's warm weather all the time, you still need to replace your windshield wipers from time to time. They do wear out.
And they start to streak, right? That's when you know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't want that. And then things to keep in your car. When if you live in winter weather states, throw a blanket in the trunk. Keep a blanket in the trunk just in case you get stuck somewhere. So you can stay warm. Make sure you have a good ice scraper and snow brush. Some flares. Those are always a good things to keep in your car, no matter where you live, really, for safety reasons. Things happen that are out of your control. You can run over something and blow out a tire, and you might not be able to change it. So if you're stuck on the side of the road, or if something breaks, it's a good idea to have these emergency supplies in your vehicle.
Oh, it's getting a little chilly in here. Do electric vehicles suffer in snow? Is it? I know Norway is a big purchaser of electric vehicles, partly because of their laws.
Yeah, it's not so much that they suffer in snow, but cold weather. Yeah. Because with an internal combustion engine, the engine generates a bunch of waste heat that goes off from your cooling system, and so that. When it gets cold, you can run that hot coolant through a heat exchanger in your cabin to warm the cabin air. You don't have that source of waste heat with an EV, which is part of why they tend to be more efficient. But that means that you've got to generate the heat somewhere, from some other source. And EVs, some newer EVs use a heat pump. Others, older ones use a resistive heater, and heating the air draws energy from your battery. So you are going to have less range when you're driving in cold weather. Other things that affect your range in cold weather, the tires getting hard, you're going to have your rolling resistance is going to change. So you will get less range. Typically, could be anywhere from 30 to 40% less range once the temperature gets below freezing.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm staying down here. Sea level in sunny California to get the best range. That's Sam Abuelsamid. He is our my car guy, our car guy, all of our car guy at Guidehouse Insights. He's here for all of us. He also is a great podcaster if you like automotive information, news, conversation. It's called Wheel Bearings, and it's a wheelbearings.media. Of course, he joins us each and every week. Sam, shovel that.
I'll get right on that, Leo.
Yeah, that Alfa Romeo out so that you can take a ride. It looks pretty cool, I think. It's
an awesome car.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I guess the batteries have heaters, right, and coolers. Mm-hmm. They're trying to keep them at a good temperature for reliability. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Thermal management has an impact on the lifespan of the battery, so they do try to keep it within its optimum temperature range.
Right.
But like I said, when it's cold outside, you want to you're going to be drawing some extra heat, and that's why it's also important. Most EVs have a mode for preconditioning the cabin heat. So when you're plugged in while you're still at home, you can program it for what time you plan to leave. Like if you're heading out to work at 7 a.m. or something, you can tell it 7 a.m. I want it to be 68 degrees in the cabin or 70 degrees, whatever temperature you find comfortable, and then it'll heat up the cabin cool the cabin in the summertime.
Yeah, that's a great
while you're
feature.
Still plugged in.
Yeah.
So you're not using energy from the battery.
Yeah.
So and then it takes less energy to maintain the temperature than it does to change it.
I used to do that on my Tesla. So because in the summer it's sitting out there. Even if you're not plugged in, you can do that. And my range was I never had a range issue. So that was really nice to know that the car wasn't getting to be 100 degrees in the sun.
Yeah.
Mr. Sammy, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's great having you on TWiT last week. I will see you soon. Are you going to go take that test drive in the Mustang when November 23rd?
Yeah, I'm scheduled for the 23rd. They're doing a series of waves that week. They're doing some regional drive programs. And
fun.
So I will shoot a bunch of video and get that to Anthony, and we can put a hands-on tech segment together for it.
Yeah, perfect. And then I'll do mine. Yay. Yay.
Yeah, the drive impressions are going to be embargoed until mid-December, so you may even have your car by the time.
Oh, that's interesting.
By the time embargo lifts.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can cut together both of our impressions.
We'll do that. I think that'd be great. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. All right, Sam. Have a good one. Stay later. Well, you're 71 degrees there. I was going to say stay warm.
I've been out raking leaves all weekend.
It's warmer where you are than it is here. It's in the 60s here. All right, Sam. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. They say that was the first heavy metal song. The Beatles, Helter Skelter. Mark on the line from Redondo Beach, California. He's our next caller. Hi, Mark. Thanks for hanging on.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. I was listening to you during the break. I have a movie recommendation before I get to my question. It's called The Whistlers.
The Whistlers.
Yeah, great foreign movie if you have a chance.
We'll check it out. We were talking, Kim and I were talking about whistling. Oh, The Whistlers. Ooh, do they whistle a lot in the movie?
Yes, it's a fundamental part of the movie.
Oh, how funny. Oh, how funny. A police inspector in Bucharest who plays both sides of the law. That one?
Yes, that's the one.
It's got an 83 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty darn good. I can't wait. Yeah. Can't wait to see it.
Check it out.
All right. Thanks for the recommendation.
Sure. My pleasure.
What can I do for you?
The reason I'm calling is I just recently upgraded to Photoshop 2021, and it pretty much did my HP Pavilion Elite. Put it out of commission.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So I'm looking at a Dell XPS Desktop Special Edition.
Okay.
as a replacement. And I'm asking, the question is, what can I do as far as upgrades? I have a few options here. I was wondering if I can run them past you.
Oh, I love spending people's money. This is a very nice system. And are you a photographer? What do you use Photoshop for?
Yes.
Okay.
Photographer. Also, I'm considering to buy a Canon R5.
Okay.
So that would be a consideration as well.
That's
my fundamental question is I'd like to upgrade the
Unfortunately, your audio, I hate to say it, Mark, but your audio is breaking up. Can you get a little closer to your router?
Yeah. Let me try over here. Do you hear me better?
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No problem. So the special edition, what makes it special?
Right.
It's the look? Because it is pretty.
That's a good question.
Why are you so special? Oh, I think it is the look. I think it's because it's like silver. It's beautiful. Yeah. Mineral white, they call it. Wow, all right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it comes with the 10th generation i7.
Okay.
10,700.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe upgrading to the i9 core, 10,900.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. I have an i9 MacBook of several of them actually, and the problem in laptops with these high-end chips is they get heat throttled. But this won't be a problem in a desktop. I presume they're going to have pretty good cooling on it, and you'll definitely benefit. It depends what you do with Photoshop, but Photoshop is a program that uses multiple cores. So, in a lot of times, people buy multiple cores thinking, well, that's got to be better. But many of the things they do just do one core at a time. They're not set up to do the splitting up of the job into multiple pieces. For instance, Windows itself is single core. But Photoshop is very aware of how many cores you have, especially when you're doing elaborate filters or transforms. People often use the Gaussian blur as an example, because that is a pixel by pixel, very intensive process that uses the CPU. So you'll definitely benefit with an i9 if you're using Photoshop. You'll also benefit maybe even more by putting in as much RAM as you can afford.
Right. And yeah, it comes with 32. I think
that's probably all right. 32 is probably all right. But just remember with Photoshop, when you have, especially if you have large images, you keep multiple copies of that same image in RAM. So it's a very much of a RAM-hungry machine. But 32 gigs is a lot of storage. I think you're probably all right with 32 gigs. Maybe spend some of the different money on a great monitor. Photography, the monitor is very, very, very important. You want an accurate monitor, that kind of thing. What kind of graphics card are they putting in there?
Yes, let me look that up. It's the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 Super.
That's nice. That's fine. Yeah, are you a gamer?
No. It would be either video or photography.
Yeah, I think some video programs, some photo programs take advantage of a GPU for certain things. Video more often than photo, and that 2070 is, it's not the latest and greatest, but it does ray tracing. It's not really old either. It's pretty new. That's a nice card, and I think that I'm not sure which processes that you use would take advantage of it, but it would certainly give you headroom.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you answered all my questions. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad I could spend some money. How much is that going to cost when you put that all together?
About $2,700.
Yeah, but it's a professional tool.
Yes. I hope to get it a long time.
Yeah, it's often a mistake. I think people are very price sensitive with PCs. I understand money's tight, but it's sometimes a mistake to underspend, because then you get something that doesn't work as well. It's a hassle for a long time, and then it wears out earlier. And it's maybe a foolish economy, especially in a case like yours, where this is a PC that you're going to use. This is your work. This is your work tool.
Right.
And I never have any hesitation of spending more on a tool that is going to generate income. That's what they call the pro models, and you're getting a pro model. It sounds very nice, and that mineral white's pretty.
Good to know.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. What do you take pictures of? What's your
Portraits, landscapes, mostly.
Nice.
I mean, I wish it was travel, but with COVID, that's not possible.
Yeah,
right now.
I know. I use travel for my inspiration. I have to find it elsewhere now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, nice to talk to you. Thanks for calling, Mark. And
You as well.
have fun spending that money, that hard-earned money. And believe me, if you're a professional photographer, you earn your money. Kevin, next from Missoula, Montana. Hello, Kevin.
Well, good afternoon. I'd just like to say condolences to Alex Trebek's family.
Yeah.
I learned about his passing while on hold with you.
36 years host of Jeopardy. And that was I would watch that every night. Loved that show. So,
Yeah, we still do.
a lot of dignity that guy had. Really a great talent. Yeah, we'll miss him. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm going to need you to help me spend some money here on my second question. But the first one is with your sponsor, Remote PC, that you were just.
Yes.
I have an 83-year-old mother who lives an hour away. We handed down a Samsung Galaxy S5 phone to her.
Nice.
I have to drive down there every once in a while and do her updates because she doesn't get it.
Right.
And I have to rearrange her widgets and everything that she messed up on it. So I have to manually go into the application manager and then go to the TouchWiz, home screen and reset everything for her.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if Remote PC can help me out.
No, there's no Remote PC for Android. You can do it from Android, but not to Android.
Okay, so I have a Samsung Galaxy S10e. So I can do what program or how would I attempt to do that from here?
I think there are a couple of remote access tools for Android. There's a free one called VNC. That's kind of the original remote access, and you could play with that one. TeamViewer also apparently works on Android, which is kind of cool. Yeah, this would save you a trip to your mom's. Join.me apparently works on Android as well. That's the Log Me In product. And then there's Android VNC Viewer, which you'll find. All three of those you'll find in the Android store. And I would start with VNC, see how well it works, because that one's completely free. A number of them, I think both Join.me and TeamViewer have free tiers as well. So worth a try. I'll tell you, I do that with my mom on her computer. She sits there. She says, I'm just going to watch. I love watching you. She watches the mouse move around. It's so cute. It's a great feeling. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Actually, I don't know. You know, I may be wrong on that. These are for Android, but do they work on... No, I'm sorry. I think I misguided you. I might have to correct that. They do not let you remote into Android. Darn it. I apologize. That is not right. I was looking at the Play Store. You want Android to Android. Samsung has that Keys program. I wonder if Samsung has a way to do it. Oh, look. Yeah. No, that's no. Samsung Remote Support Service. So TeamViewer does do mobile to mobile. Okay, so I wasn't so far off. TeamViewer. Yeah, so TeamViewer will let you do it. Mobile to mobile. Computers. Remotely control other mobile devices for Android. Huh. Yeah. So I guess TeamViewer and LogMeIn will all both do it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Remote PC does not, to my knowledge, does not. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, you know, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. A lot of conversation in the chat room about how to, this is actually something I never thought about, but how to remote into a Android device, a Samsung phone, an S5, from another Samsung or another Android, or maybe even from a Windows device. We're going to capture all of that, James, capture all of that, and put it at the website, techguylabs.com. TeamViewer apparently will do that. Somebody's saying Remote PC will do that. I did not know that, but I'll have to give it a try. There's also something called AirDroid, which I've used. I don't know if it allows you. That's an interesting question. I don't know if it allows you to do remote access. It does allow you to get some information from the phone, so that would be one to look at as well. 8888 ask Leo. I know many of us use Remote PC, our sponsor, for remote access to computers, especially for tech support for moms and other parents, other people who have a hard time using the computer. 888-827-5536. That's the phone number. Back to the phones we go. And our next caller is from San Diego. Sam is on the line. Hello, Sam.
Hey, how you doing over there?
I'm great. Come on over to the phone, Sam. You're on the air. How's everything going?
A lot better?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, doke.
What's up in Sam's life?
What's going on here? I have an iPhone 6, and I had that new battery that was put in back with the recalls.
Yeah, my mom did that too. $35. That was a great thing, man. That was great.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, she said it's like a brand new phone. Yeah.
I don't think it's the battery.
What's happening now? It's just it's dying, huh?
Well, what's going on is I'll plug it in all night, and then I'll take it out to the store, whatever. I'm walking around, and within an hour and a half, I'm not using it.
Oh.
The battery's going down.
That's not good.
But then when I plug it back in, whoop, it goes right back up. And the other one is working fantastic.
So you got two of them with new batteries.
Yes, I had two.
Yeah, you might have got a bad battery. You got them both from Apple though, right? Using their
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like you got a bad battery. So the way it works is the batteries, lithium-ion batteries, have a certain number of charge-discharge cycles they can do. That's a full charge all the way up, whoop, as you say, and a discharge whoop, all the way to zero. Typically, it's around 500, but it really varies on the battery and the chemistry. So, but around, let's say 500. And if you think about it, 500, that's going to get you a few years of charges and discharges. But after 3, 4, 5 years, most lithium-ion batteries will just stop working, depending on how much you charge it. Now, but they don't stop immediately. What they do is they get less, their capacity goes down. And that may be what's happening with that phone, is that it's not in good shape. You can look on your, let's see, I think on the iPhone 6, you can get up to iOS 13, I think. What version of iOS are you using?
I think it's 12.5.
Yeah, you may not be able to go to 13.
In fact, they want me to upgrade right now.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can't go to 14 on a 6. Okay. I think a 6S you can. If it's a 6S, you can. But I don't remember if they had the battery information in 12. But if you go to settings, you can look at, there's a setting called battery health.
I looked at that.
And what does it say?
92%.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
You know, when you first get a new one, it'll be 100% or 99%.
Right. Hey, I'm an old timer. I hardly use it for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can baby your battery. You can get better results.
The other one works fantastic.
Wow. So maybe turn off in that same battery health. And again, I don't know if iOS 12 has this optimized battery charging. No, that's kind of a cool thing Apple does, which is when you first plug it in, it goes whoop all the way up to 80%. And then to keep the battery, to improve battery life, it slowly charges the rest of the way. The idea is you can get a quick, hit. The other thing then you might do also in the battery setting is look at what's using battery. And it may be that phone has something going on with it that's drawing, because
I might interrupt you. I just had a brain fart. I've been getting these emails from all these politicians.
Yeah, that'll do it. Your phone's tired of the election.
I need this, I need help, I need what the hell? Now, how do I get rid of those guys? Maybe my battery.
I don't think that's using up your battery. don't think that's using up your battery. You know, though, battery life can suffer. It's interesting. You have two phones almost identical. Battery life can suffer if you're in a region where the cell signal isn't great, and it's working really hard to get online, or it's searching around for a cell signal. That can kill a battery. That's why when we talk about battery life on a phone, you can't give a number because your mileage may vary and drastically. But since you have two identical phones, and by the way, your battery health is good, 92% is excellent, I have to think it's some app on there. Now, in the battery settings, again, you can see battery usage by app. And take a look and see if you've got something that's just drawing down the battery. It wouldn't be text messages. It'll be something else. But see if there's something that's killing the battery that's on that phone but not on the other phone. There are lots of things that can go on. It may be. It could be all the political messages. I'll tell you what I do. This is a very nice setting that's available. Again, I don't know which. I'm using iOS 14, the most recent version. You can't get there. And I'm not sure if this is available in the earlier versions. But you can say with messages, you can have grouping. So you can say, and it's under message filtering in the messages settings, filter unknown messages, messages from unknown senders. And what happens now, this is what I ended up doing because you're right, I was getting a lot of texts too. Now I have buckets. I have 3 buckets on my messages. I have known. Well, all messages is one of the buckets. Then there's known senders and there's unknown senders. All the political stuff, unless it's from somebody I know, goes into unknown senders, and I don't see it. I just open known senders and leave it there. Doesn't mean you're not going to get the messages. And by the way, for First Amendment reasons, while the FCC and your carrier can block spam, and you might say, this is spam. I'm not going to give them any money. But because it's a political campaign, they're protected. They can send those messages. In fact, the bad news, the FCC just said, oh, and by the way, bill collectors also have a First Amendment right to continue to send you messages. There was some limit. I think they could only do one a day or something, but I think that they just eliminated the limits on bill collectors, debt collectors. They can't use obscene or profane language. They can't threaten you or threaten legal action. They can't or don't intend to take, but they can't be stopped from texting you. So, unfortunately, that restriction has been kind of weakened lately, and that I guess that's the FTC. Maybe not the FCC, but in both cases, the kind of the feeling is, well, they have a First Amendment right to communicate, and certainly politicians do. But I agree with you. I'm glad the election's over. I'm really tired of getting those spammy messages. Although, I guess I'm probably going to get a few about the 2 runoff campaigns in Georgia. The election will continue through January in Georgia, and that's something else that's changed, isn't it? They don't just ask you for money if you're in Georgia. Now they ask everybody across the country, hey, you care about this, right? You want to support your party, right? Send us money. We got to keep. So I guess, we're going to be in a never-ending election cycle at some point. Yeah, there's something. Your battery's fine. That's the good news. Your battery health is good. And by the way, on Android devices, there are ways to look at battery health, as well as third-party apps that can look at battery health. That's a good thing. If you're seeing a poor battery life, check and see how much of your battery remains, how much of those 500 cycles you've used. 92%, you should get pretty good results all the way around. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo, the phone number. Mario on the line from Lancaster, California. Hey, Mario.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I've been listening to you since you were local at the Bay Area.
Yeah. On
KNBR.
KNBR in the 80s, and then KSFO, and then KGO, yeah. The itinerant life of a radio talk show host.
Well, you're great.
Thank you.
Listen, I do have a question. I worked in companies where they always, when you turn on your computer, they say, hey, we're monitoring you. Be careful of what you're doing and all this stuff.
Yes.
Right?
That's nice that they do that, because technically they can do it without warning you.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
I work in a government facility where it's even more restrictive. They have so many layers of security.
Yeah.
They don't even let me take in my my mobile phone into the facility. So,
Wow. What are you, a spy, Mario? What are you? You work at the Lawrence Livermore Labs? What are you?
Sorry,
You can't tell me. Okay.
No.
In a secure facility. Wow.
It is. It is. So I use LastPass, and occasionally I've used it at work, and I'm worried. Well, if all these is the monitoring.
Oh, that's a good question. Are they getting your passwords?
Secured?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. So, generally the answer would be no. But again, if you work at a 3-letter agency, all bets are off. So here's how they would have to do it. LastPass. And by the way, this is true, too, if you were surfing to Amazon or going to your bank from the computer at work. There's only a few ways they can monitor that. They could have a camera over your shoulder and see everything you're doing. That's one of the reasons, generally speaking, no passwords are shown. They're just dots, right? That's to prevent the shoulder snooping, right? Shoulder surfing. They could also have a keystroke logger. And again, LastPass works pretty well to prevent that because in most cases you're not typing it. In fact, you're not even cutting and pasting it. It's autofilling it. That's very hard for a keystroke logger to capture, but if they had more sophisticated monitoring tools, they might be able to get it. Most businesses, and I would bet even government installations, can see your screen. You know, they have software on there that can see your screen, but that's why LastPass, unless you say show password, doesn't ever show the password. Finally, you know, they're certainly monitoring traffic inbound and outbound, but when you're using Amazon, your bank, LastPass, that's encrypted traffic from your browser all the way to the endpoint. The only way they could see that is with what we call a man-in-the-middle attack. And it may be the case, if it's a government facility, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, that they've replaced the certificates with their own certificate, which allows you to go on to Amazon, but allows them to snoop. Now, the way LastPass works, you're probably still okay, because what LastPass, which is a password manager, also a sponsor of our podcast, so I should mention that, but what they do is they decrypt and encrypt on device. So even though you're using SSL, you're using a secure transit, even if they could break into that with a man-in-the-middle attack, they'd still get an encrypted blob that would be useless to them. Okay. So LastPass, because, you know, any password manager I would expect to be similarly protected because, you know, that's exactly the same kinds of things your employer is doing to monitor you, a bad guy might try to do to hack you. So they're defending against that as best as possible. But, you know, unlike a hacker, your employer has physical access to your workspace, to your computer, to your internet access. They've even asserted, look, we're monitoring it. By the way they put that pop-up in there might be evidence that they are doing a man-in-the-middle attack. Depends how they're doing it. It could be just software that's running on the machine. But if it happens when you start surfing, they probably are inserting content into your conversation. That would be evidence that, in fact, they're doing a man-in-the-middle. The way to easily see that is to look at the certificate as you go. So go somewhere like a bank or Amazon, somewhere that's HTTPS, Google, and then click the padlock and look at the certificate. The certificate should be, I'm on Google right now, it should be, it's issued to star.google.com. If you see instead, it's issued to star.nsa.gov, that's evidence that they are doing, and it's completely legal for them, not just a government, but for any employer. If you're using the company's resources, including the computer or internet access, even if you're on your computer and their internet access, they have, courts are held again and again, they have the absolute right to monitor it, to engage with it without any notice. So the fact they're giving you notice, it's twofold. One is they're doing the right thing, letting you know, look, you're not completely private on this. Two, it's encouraging good behavior, isn't it? Because they might be watching.
Yeah, I certainly don't mind that, all those protections.
No, they have to do that. In fact, I would do it as an employer because you're liable, you know, if you're surfing porn at work and creating an unsafe workplace, the employer's liable. They can get sued. So they have kind of almost a duty to keep an eye on what you're doing and make sure you're not doing something nefarious. So.
All right. So clicking on the padlock will reveal the certificate that's being used there.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. Anybody who's an employee to look at that and make sure those certificates actually go to the right site, not some third party. Yep. It's completely possible. I would expect, in fact, that depending on the security, if your facility is so secure you can't bring a phone in,
that's right.
then you're almost certainly they have a higher level of security on your system. Make sure, see who the certificate authority is, who issued it. Make sure it's not a .gov, and also make sure that it goes to the correct site that you're looking at. That will give you some idea. Right. Doesn't mean they can't, as I said, they can't be looking over your shoulder. They can't have software monitoring keystrokes. There's a lot of things they can do. Most businesses have the capability, it's very common, to just look at your screen, see what you're doing. And there might be somebody in the IT department who's scanning through screens just to see, well, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? And if you're dealing with classified information, that kind of thing, ever since Edward Snowden, I think they're very, very careful. And they should be. And they should be. It's appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I don't know what you're doing, Mario, but thanks for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. It's good to talk to you. See you. Good question. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Photography coming up next with Chris Marquardt. The Tech Guy podcast brought to you this week by Melissa. Scary thought, but if you've got customer lists that you're keeping track of, about a third of all that data is going to go bad every year. That's not good because that means wasted time, wasted money, and customers that suddenly cannot be reached. That's no good either. That's why you need Melissa. Melissa's been doing this for over 35 years. It started with zip code verification, but now they can do it all. Emails, addresses, phone numbers, names. They can even give you public record information like property and mortgage data, consumer demographic information, marital status, social media handles to make your customer list that much more useful. And their global address verification service works in 240 plus countries and territories, and you can even set it up so it does it at the point of entry, whether it's your customer or a customer service rep. One mistyped, street address ruins the whole thing, but Melissa can verify it. That way you only have valid billing and shipping addresses captured and in your systems. If you send out brochures, bills, mailers, we send out Christmas cards every year. You want to make sure you're sending it to the right person. Melissa can help. And their flexible deployment options mean it works the way you work, no matter what size your business, no matter what your budget or your preference. They have flexible on-prem solutions, web service. You can do their secure FTP processing where you upload and download. You can do software as a service. There's even a very good API, which means you can add Melissa verification capabilities into your own software. Melissa is always undergoing independent security audits to reinforce their commitment to data security. Yes, your data is safe with them. Privacy and compliance requirements, too. They have the utmost dedication to your data security. They implement industry best practices, strong controls and safeguards whenever they're handling your data. SOC 2, HIPAA, and GDPR compliant. No wonder over 10,000 businesses trust Melissa, the address experts. And with the holiday season right around the corner, now might be a very good time to get your mailing list in order. Melissa is also supporting communities and qualifying essential workers during quarantine. See if your organization qualifies for 6 months of free service. You can apply online. Don't put up with sour customer data. Try Melissa's APIs in their developer portal. Very easy to log on, sign up, and start playing in the API sandbox anytime. Start today with 1,000 records cleaned for free. Melissa.com/twit. MELISSA. Melissa.com/twit. Thank you, Melissa, for doing such a great job and for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. Thank you, dear listener, for supporting the show by going to Melissa.com/twit. Now on we go. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. And it's time for our photo sensei, Chris Marquardt. He teaches us how to take better pictures at sensei.photo. Hello, Chris.
Hello. How's it going today?
It is going very well. It is a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. I was surprised because, of course, Chris is German, lives in Germany. You knew the name Alex Trebek.
Oh, yeah.
I guess he's a worldwide figure.
Well, he wasn't really. I didn't really know him from German TV, but I like to have my feelers out in the world. So,
well, he was great. And if you ever watch Saturday Night Live and the parody Jeopardies,
yes, I know those two.
And now both Sean Connery and Alex Trebek are going to do those in heaven from now on.
Yes, they will. Yes.
What are we talking about today, Chris?
I was looking around for interesting angles and facets of photography, and one of them is, of course, a thing that comes up a lot, and that's the black and white versus color thing.
Yes.
You will have people discuss that on forums. It's like, how do I do a transformation? How do I transfer something from color? Because nowadays you shoot in color usually, and then in post production you go in black and white, and some people ask, why should I put a picture, make a picture black and white? Other than it might look nicer.
I love black and white. I love black and white.
Let's go through a few pictures and look at like the differences. What does black and white do? How does it work? So I've sent you a link with a gallery, which you can of course put in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put them at the website, techguylabs.com.
I think the first and most important thing is what you will realize in the minute you see black and white photos is, and it's a recurring topic for me, is reduction. I want to reduce things in photos. Too much stuff going on makes pictures into snapshots, but I'm looking at photographies. I'm looking at something that is very deliberate, that feels very deliberate, and reducing things to its basic elements, a photo to its basic elements, is a good way to get there. And reduction, a black and white, of course, doesn't have color, so it's a reduced photo. And by reduction, you get kind of more. So in this case, of course, as colors aren't present in those photos, you will get, for example, more emphasis on stronger shapes, on lines and these kind of things, on the contrast, on the bright and dark.
You don't get distracted by the color.
Color can be very distracting if you don't use it right. This one is an example of a very strong photo with very strong lines, and it's kind of a black and white photo, but then there's this one person in there.
Yeah.
And look
she's in red and blue, very vivid.
And she becomes the focus of the photo, even though there's a lot of interesting contrast and things going on there.
The color
so
draws
adding
the
a
eye.
subject in a black and white photo, that's a very, very good trick to work with, and that again is also a very reduced photo. There's no people in there, just geometry of the architecture, and then that one person. So
nice.
That's a very strong photo.
Yeah, I agree. Beautiful.
And then of course you can look for soft and hard shapes, and also for soft and hard light, and that's what the black and white tends to bring out quite well. So tiny light sources, we talked about this in the past. A small light source makes a very harsh environment, very harsh shadows. If you have a big surface as a light source, be it a bright wall or an overcast sky, then you end up with very soft shadows that kind of wrap around things, especially things that are curvy. In this case, it was flowers that get a very, very simple bit of light there.
You know, one thing that jumps out for me in this gallery you've put together on Flickr is geometry becomes a big part of it. Geometric shapes, lines, things like that.
Shapes, lines. The next one in the gallery is like zigzagging pathway. Such a strong element in that shot, and again, no distractions, no nothing. Let's go over to color, because color is always a question of the color palette. Like, how many colors do you put in a photo? Again, color can be very distracting, but if you reduce the color palette, if you find something that doesn't have too many colors in it, then you take distractions out. And that you see that, you notice that in the photo we're looking at right now. There's only green and black, and that's it. But so the shapes again become important, but you get one added bit of information. And
it's perfect because it's a mossy green tree in a misty mossy green forest, And it's very emotional, very evocative.
And it has a strong subject because there's this one big tree right there in the front.
Yeah, I love it. That's beautiful. Now, do you think he made that green, or is that what he saw when he took the picture? Or is that a silly question? Does that matter?
No, it's definitely possible that that there was a bit of post-production that kind of enhanced it a bit, maybe took some distractions out. I wouldn't be above doing that. I mean, if it helps the photo, if it helps tell the story, then why not? So let's add more colors. Let's go to the next one, which again is a very monochrome kind of photo, but then there's like it's an aquarium, but then there's this one goldfish in there. And it's such a nice color contrast to the greenish tint of the entire photo with its bright color. Again, probably a bit of an enhancement there in post-processing, but I think it makes for a very strong photo.
Still, even if you're post-processing, you have to see, you have to see the composition, you have to see the image, you have to have in your mind what you're going to get, right?
Yeah, or you see the photo after you took it and say, oh, let me try to find an angle that I can work on. This one looks like the photographer took it the way it was and just enhanced it a bit by
I don't think he's modified
maybe enhancing the colors a bit.
Right.
Next one is a similar one. It kind of looks monochrome, but then there's a boat racer with a red helmet, and of course that becomes the subject. And now let's add more colors. In the next one we have it's almost just a reduction to colors because it's it's a person, so you have the red and of the background and the blue of the jacket. And the next ones are RGB pictures. That's what I call them, red, green, and blue. They have like the primary colors in them, which makes them...
Boy, do they jump. They pop when you have
They
it that
pop.
way. Yeah.
So RGB and a bit of yellow, it's like the Google logo. They use the same kind of colors.
But the thing about... So this is a red barn in a green field with a very blue sky. But the thing that jumps out at me is it isn't a lot of different colors. It's not a mishmash. It's a very
it feels
graphical,
natural, right?
Yeah, but it's graphical too. It's like
it's
red, that's green, that's blue. It's very
everything everything has its place in the photo. Yeah. Kind of where it belongs.
I love it.
So strong colors, not a problem. Muted colors, not a problem. I think it's just important to kind of keep a track of the color palette. How many colors do you use, and maybe recompose a bit to take some of those distractions out.
You said the evil word snapshot. Of course, that's what we're all trying to avoid is snapshots.
No.
But it is.
I'm not against snapshots.
There's a time and place. Yeah. Time and place. I actually, when I filter through my photos, I always have a category for snapshots, photos that were meaningful to me because of the time, the place, the people in the photo. Not a particularly great photo. I wouldn't hang it on a wall, but it has a meaning to me. And those I want to save, just not publish, Chris Marquardt, he's our photo sensei. His website where you can get photo training, critiques, help with making your pictures better is SENSEI sensei.photo. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate it. Don't forget his great podcast, Tips from the Top Floor, tfttf.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Beautiful images. Yeah. It's nice to have a consciousness of what's going on in the color versus black and white space so that you can...
I mean, with everything you do, if it's not... It doesn't even necessarily mean photos. You have to be conscious of what you do, and then you have you have some control over what comes out.
Oh man, now Leica's going to release a monochrome version of the Q2 next month. Damn you, Leica! I've decided I'm not buying any more Leicas. I think they've become a fashion brand, not really a camera brand so much.
They're still making really, really good optics.
I mean, love my Leica 50.
Leica's optics are the best in the world. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. There is definitely a fashion element in there.
Yeah, it's become a brand, like Cartier or Tiffany or something like that. But I have to say, I got a great image. Let me see if I can find it with my Leica Q2. Oh, shoot. It's not in. I'm still logged into my other account. Yeah, there it is. This was when Michael's dad was visiting, and they were eating outside in the fire, and it was just the lit light by the fire. And that's the thing with a Leica lens. It's and a fast Q2. It really.
Yeah, but it's also such a reduced color palette because of the fire, and so it's
red and brown basically. Yeah, red, white.
I'd probably clone the Coke bottle out, but other than that,
yeah. There's a few things I would edit out, and actually, Lisa, when she borrowed it, just cropped that whole side out. But I want to get that's an example of it's a snapshot because I want to get his dad in there, and I didn't want to say, "Hey guys, look at me," right?
Yeah.
Because that ruins it. So
that's a beautiful. That's right in the middle between being a snapshot and a photo, because you definitely took deliberate effort and you looked at how this. You envisioned a photo when you took this. You didn't just.
And we have a good-looking kid, which helps.
Yeah, that helps too. Absolutely.
I can't take any credit for that. Thank you, Chris. Have a wonderful week.
And we'll be back in a week.
Yeah, stay well. Take care.
All right, you too. Take care.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Professor Laura digging deep in the stacks for that one. Adam on the line from Ontario. Hello, Adam, in Canada.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I love your show. I love you. I love your show. I've been following you for a very long time.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I feel like, it's nice doing this. I've been doing this so long. I feel like we're all just friends together, hanging out.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Like watching your family, watching your network.
Right. It's no pressure. It's just what it is. So what can I do for you today?
Well, what it is my dad, he somehow silences everyone's text messages, and I can't figure out how to stop that permanently from happening.
He's getting them?
Individually.
He's getting them?
Add them so he has messages again, notifications of them again.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So, he doesn't want to tell me what's happening.
He somehow silences everyone's text message notification.
So he gets no notifications. If he goes to the messages app, can he see the messages?
You can see the messages.
Oh, okay.
The noise it makes, he somehow turns it off for everybody.
Yeah, and you don't want that, or he doesn't want that?
He would like to know he got a text message because he says, I said, did you get my text message? He goes, I don't get your text message. I said,
yeah, of course.
It's right there on your phone.
iOS or Android?
Android. It's running Android 10 and One UI. He's got Samsung.
Oh, it's Samsung. Okay. So this is the good news on all phones now, but Samsung and Android in general are very good about notifications, control, kind of even granular control of your notifications. So he can go into notifications settings and modify it in such a way that you could say, for instance, I don't want notifications from people I don't know, or from these people, or that kind of thing. There's a lot of granularity in that. I would get. You're not a Samsung user, is that?
I am.
Oh, you are. Okay, so
I'm running the same operating system he is.
Perfect. Well, I'm looking at my my Galaxy Fold 2 here, so it's going to be very similar.
I must have missed that.
Oh yeah. My wife said, "When can you return that?" I said, "Never. I own it now. We missed the 2-week deadline." She said it was $2,000. I said, "Honey, I'm the tech guy. I have to buy these things." I like it and I don't like it. I know it's not going to last. It's not going to be very robust.
I got my eye on the new
the flip one.
Note 20.
Oh yeah.
Ultra.
Note 20's nice.
$2,000 and I stole a lot of the contract.
Son of a gun, Son of a gun. So let's see. Notifications to show. I'm just looking to see where we can find this. Boy, they really, they have so many settings now. It's kind of hard. I'm going to do this search because it's kind of hard to find Yeah, there's a notifications settings.
Yeah, I'm in notifications, and then I clicked on the text messages and holding it down. It brought up another menu with general notifications.
How did he turn it off is what we're trying to... And Do Not Disturb is off, is that right? Make sure he doesn't have Do Not Disturb on. You can turn off the sounds in volume. The notification sounds are a separate sound. But he's not even getting an on-screen pop-up. Is that correct?
He's getting the on-screen, but...
Oh, he's just not getting the sound.
He's not getting the sound, which is annoying him because his eyes are so bad that he can't see the little blue dot.
First thing to try is hit the volume rocker on his phone. And when you hit the volume rocker on an Android device, it pops up just the most obvious ringtone. But if you press, there's a little down arrow next to it. If you press it, you'll see all the different things. And for instance, there is a separate volume setting for notifications. So it may merely be that he hears the ringtone, he can watch YouTube video, but his notifications volume is turned all the way down. So that's the first thing to check.
I just turn that up.
Yeah, because he's getting the pop-ups, so he hasn't blocked notifications. He's just not hearing them. And I think that that's most likely it's just that the volume, notifications on Samsung devices is a separate volume from the ring sound, from the media playback sound. It's its own thing. And I notice on mine, by the way, it's muted, but that's because I don't want to have a lot of boop, boop, boops while I'm doing the radio show. So I would check that. Because you're still getting them, which means that the notifications are not blocked. You're just not hearing the sound.
Yeah. I don't know what he's hitting to sound them.
He's hitting, well, that's the other reason I think that's what's going on. Because it is pretty easy to get to that by accident by hitting the volume up and down and then accidentally modifying it so that you're not getting the notification sounds that you want to get. So let me turn off Do Not Disturb on my phone. That's something that's blocking me from setting it. If I hit the volume rocker, yeah, it's going to be my guess that he's somehow accidentally got into notifications and turned that all the way down. Yeah, it's the volume rocker shows just the well, I guess it depends what's going on. If you're in a call, it'll set the call level, but you can notice notifications. It's media, ringtone, notifications, and system. And so notifications is its own setting. I'm guessing that's what that would be the easiest thing to accidentally maneuver and mess up. You can also change the sound. That's the other thing he might have done. This is maybe he was playing with his sounds in his settings and accidentally changed the notification sound to silence. That wouldn't be a good thing. Does he get sounds from anybody's texts?
Some people.
Some people, but not all.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
He seems to be doing it one by one somehow.
Oh, that's interesting.
It feels like that to me because it's like you go through the list when you start putting them all back on.
Yeah.
And it seems it's not always accurate. It's like he does it randomly somehow. He doesn't know how to do it.
Let me look here.
So let me show you what I've noticed.
Yeah.
So if you go into your text messages, click on somebody, and the three little dots in the corner.
I'm seeing that. Yep.
Hit that, and then at the very bottom, you see the pin and the bell.
Yeah.
Somehow he turns off the bell without getting into that setting. And I have to manually go in and hit the bell on every single.
Well, you got me. So you're able to go back one by one and turn them on.
I want to stop him from. I don't know.
But you want to know how he's doing that by accident so easily.
Yes.
I don't know. That's why I'm kind of obsessed with the rocker, which now I think is not the issue, because it's per contact. So I don't know how you would do that. Well, do know when you get a notification, maybe this is what's going on. When you get a notification, you can, within the notification, modify what's going on. He might be thinking that he's clicking the notification and say, I got it. And instead he's muting the audio. That's the only thing I can think of.
I'm kind of wondering that too. I just don't know how to figure that out.
I don't know. I'm looking at the fold here and I don't see any way to easily do that. Your dad's a genius. He's a genius.
Right here listening, he's having a bit of a giggle here.
He's a brilliant, brilliant man. He's figured out something none of us can figure out how to undo. Is he giving you a sly look like maybe he did that on purpose? Yeah, he's a...
I'll you to get this figured out.
You got me. Let's keep listening because somebody, there's smart people listening. They're good. Our team tech guy, they're in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. They're listening. They'll figure it out. I always can count on them. Figure out what's going on. So chat room thinks that he's using the mute button instead of saying okay or something like that. I'll have to play with it to see if we could make that happen because that's a wild. I don't know what's going on there. That's wild. Text 3-dot menu notification sound. No, but so here's the thing. According to the way Adam described it. Well, Adam's still on the line. I can keep him on the line. Here. Yeah. So the way you described it is it's specific to individuals. So he's still getting notifications. He's still seeing them on the screen. He's getting sound for some people, but in particular, his family members. The pop-up's there, but no sound. And so it must be. So it's specific to each individual. So it must be when you get a text message, you can modify the settings right from the text message. And it must be he's doing something. It's not that easy. That's the problem. I'm trying to find something that would be easy to do by accident. Android, we're not talking about Do Not Disturb Desert Dweller or because it's not global. It's just per contact. I think it has to be when he's looked at a message from somebody. In that message, he's swiping it right or something, and he's getting it to mute that person. You know what I'm saying? Mine's rebooting right now because there was an update. So let me just, once it reboots. The other thing is I have to send myself a text message because I have to see if I can mute it. So let me send myself a text message. Okay. Send a message. SMS to hello. Okay. Hope that's my number. All right. As soon as this reboot completes, chat room's having fun with this too. I think, yes, he's still booting. So Uncle Bix says the swipe, when you swipe that message, has a gear and a bell. And if you tap the bell, you're now going to mute all messages from that point on. So that makes sense. I'm still waiting for my phone to reboot, but that does make sense. There's something in the message itself where it's too easy to just swipe it and accidentally hit the bell, and it's muting it. That's all I can think about. That's all I can think of. Smash the bell, as the YouTubers say. All right, well, reboot's almost done. As soon as it's done, I'll be able to give you better feedback on this. What do you think, chat room? So revert that. Go back to the specific text, 3-dot bar, notifications, and then you could see if you've done that individually. That's wild. How are things in Ontario?
Good.
Is it cold yet?
We had one snowy day, but today's very hot and warm.
Isn't that weird? It's that time of year, that weird time of year. Patio weather comes and goes.
Hey, Leo?
Yeah.
about your other caller, TeamViewer?
Yeah.
I used it on my dad's cell.
So that you can do that. Oh, that's exactly what we wanted.
The best thing about TeamViewer, providing you're not a business, you can use it for free.
Mm-hmm. They bug the hell out of you to buy it, but it is free. Good. That's good. That's good to know. So you can go from your phone to his phone using TeamViewer.
I did that when I wasn't living with him yet.
Perfect. Perfect. What's your dad's name?
The person on the other end needs to do some things.
Yeah, he has to install the stub. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So he'll drive. What he'll do is he'll drive over. He'll put it on his mom's phone, and then go home and say, "Okay, Mom, from now on, TeamViewer."
And then what I would do is I'd call my dad would call me up, and I'd walk him through the setting to activate
it
on his phone.
Right.
And then TeamViewer while you're talking through the phone.
Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Thank you. All right, let me see here. Oh, see, I just got a message. You heard that. Come into my Samsung. Now let me look at that inbound message. Wake up, little phone. Wake up. All right. So, it's finishing system update. Stupid me. I pressed update. That was my mistake.
I have a question for you. How many apps are you updating? Mine's up to 400.
Oh, my gosh. No, I try to keep it pretty clean. I think it's 100-something. But, yeah, that takes a while, doesn't it? You might as well go to bed if it's that many. That many apps, really? Wow.
I don't know what I got on my phone.
Yeah, well, you should. Yeah, maybe remove some of this. Shoot, it did not. My phone has been updated. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Missed calls. No, that's not it. Let me send the text again. I'll do that off camera because I don't want. I'll do it from this phone, maybe. Send an SMS to myself. Mm-hmm.
Any idea when Mint Mobile's coming to Canada?
They're not in Canada yet?
No, I've heard rumors they're thinking about it.
Yeah, it's my guess they may never, but we'll see. Well, here's one. This is good. My Disney trial is ending. Okay. So I see when I swipe it like that. See, I think he's doing that. And then see that bell? See, he hits the bell. And now... Oh, that's just... No, the bell just is a timer. That's not it. So... He must be... What's he... Oh, shoot, now I lost it. He must be going to settings and then turning off the sound. That doesn't seem like an easy thing to do, does it?
No, if you're half asleep and you're poking your phone, I guess maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think there's... It's not something that you could do by accident. Let's put it that way. It's very strange. Very strange. Let me see if I'm getting another message here. It's making a lot of noise.
Yeah, I'm playing it, but trying to...
No, that's mine too. We're both both our Samsungs are making the same sound. Let's see here. Make sure I got the right phone number.
Okay, I see on his phone. I just texted myself. I use my personal phone to text his.
Yeah.
And when I texted him at the very bottom, his phone's in, I think, basic mode.
Yeah, so that's different too. But that might make it easier to do what he's just done. That's possible also, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because neither of us use basic, I'm sure.
No.
Yeah. I'm sending myself a text message. Actually, I sent it the wrong number before.
You okay, Leo?
Yeah. Okay, good. It says, I got my message. Well, I got to run because I got to do a show. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5400. 5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, well, you just can, Skype, something like that. Shouldn't cost you anything. This is the show where we talk about anything with a chip in it, and often intractable problems. I can't promise to solve everything, but between me and our great team tech guy in the chat room and our listeners all over the world, I'm sure eventually we can come to a solution. If there is one and we don't get it on the show, you should check out the website, Techguylabs.com. That's a great place to go because not only is the show there, it's there in 3 formats. There's the text that our scribe, James DeRuvo, writes down. He puts in the short form of the answer, links, suggestions, that kind of thing. There's also, once you get there, there's also a video of the show, so you can actually go to that question and watch it or listen to it. There's audio of the show. But the most important thing from my point of view, is the comment section. If you think you know an answer, if you're trying to figure out why is Adam's dad, how is he muting those text messages just for family members, and you think you figured it out, I did the same thing, just go there, techguylabs.com. Find this episode 1744. It was the last call in hour number 2. Go to hour number 2, call number whatever 5, 6. Click that. You'll see my answer. You'll see Adam's question. And then you can add a comment and you can say, hey, here's what I did to fix that. That's very helpful on any of the calls we get. Very helpful. And there's no charge, by the way. There's no sign in. You don't have to give me your email address. That site's wide open, techguylabs.com. I should say, though, if you want to leave a comment, we do require you to sign in with Twitter or Facebook or Google or somehow. And that's just to slow down spammers, because you know how spammers are. Anything we do to slow them down, we like to do. Michael on the line. He's next from Encino, California. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Great. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking for... I'm using an old Galaxy S4 phone. Mm-hmm. Used probably for what, like 10, 15 years?
Well, it's not quite that old, but it's getting there. Yeah. They're up to 20, but they skipped, 10 through 19 or 11 through 19. So, you're about 6 years old. Yeah, 7 years old.
Anyway, so I'm looking for an Android phone that has an Android phone that's not made in China, that doesn't have a lot of preloaded software like all the Samsung.
You want a clean one. I know what you mean, yeah. Not made in China is problematic because almost all of them, Samsungs are not, notably. They're made in South Korea. But almost all of the other phones are made in China, or at least assembled in China. Generally, what I tell people, what's your budget?
Well, I like to spend less than $500, so I'm looking at an older model.
No, not necessarily. In fact, $500 or $400, that's what we call a mid-range phone, and there are a lot of brand new, very good mid-range phones in that price. The one I probably would recommend most strongly would be a Google Pixel phone. That's going to be the purest Android experience. It is made in China, though. But you easily can get a Pixel 3A or 4A for under $500. The most recent is the 4A. Excellent phone, great camera, really nice, solid build, and it is pure. It's clean. There's no extra stuff on there. It is as clean as you can get. So it would be my pick. $349 right now. So it's well within that budget, and it's brand new. It's the latest Pixel phone. So.
Well, what about that has a removable battery?
Oh, man, you're really adding the...
And it has an earphone jack.
Oh, man, now you throw it out. Now it's... You're not too picky, are we? All right. Not made in China. It has a headphone jack and has a removable battery and is not Samsung.
Yeah.
Can I talk you out of a couple of those things? I'm with you on the. I'm actually with you on the headphone jack. It really drives me crazy that they took those out.
Okay.
And I understand why you don't want one made in China, but that's kind of increasingly a difficult thing. Although over time, because of the strong tariffs in Brazil and India, phone manufacturers who want to get into those markets, and they're very, very big, very lucrative markets, are starting to build plants in India and Brazil. So it might not be too hard to find a phone that is made in India, Brazil. Of course, South Korea and Taiwan are also possibilities. Headphone jack might be a little bit harder. They're getting rarer than hen's teeth. Some Samsung phones still have... all right, here we go. The Moto E6 has a removable battery. That's the toughest thing. The reason they've gotten so few of these phones have removable batteries now is because they want to make the phones more compact. And a removable battery, because the battery has to have a package, makes it a little bit more bulky. So the Moto E6, boy, there's a limited number here. The Nokia 2.2 wouldn't recommend that. The BLU, Blue Studio Mini, wouldn't recommend that. I think the Moto E6 is your best bet. Now, here's the problem. No headphone jack, as far as I can tell. And, it does have a removable battery. And it's a Chinese company. So not only is it made in China, it's made in China by a Chinese company, Lenovo. So maybe you're going to have to figure out what you're going to give on.
Okay. All right.
I'll give you the argument about the headphone jack. You can buy headphones that have the Type-C adapter that go into the phone. It's just not a headphone jack. It's Type-C. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, you still get wired headphones. The only downside of that is you can't charge it and listen to headphones at the same time, unless you use wireless charging. Pixel 4a, also made in China. Headphone jack, no removable battery. Okay. I don't know. You may have really, I think there's a site. Let me just see. I think GSM Arena might have what you want, which is a check boxes where you can put in your specifications. And I think, though, as you do, you're going to narrow it down more and more and more till you get 0 phones in that category. Clean Android. I mean, I am with you. I would love all of those things. Clean Android, headphone jack, removable battery, not made in China. That sounds good to me. Under $500. That all sounds good to me. I think that would be a killer. I'm still going to say Pixel 4a. You can live without a removable battery. These batteries will last not 7 years like yours has, but you can get them replaced. And Google's pretty good about having service centers replace those batteries for a fairly low cost, under $100. Headphone jack, it does have, made in China. Can't help you with that. What? Just out of curiosity, what is about made in China that you don't want?
I don't want some chip put in there.
Spying. Yeah, privacy. Yeah. I understand that. Companies big enough like Google and Apple and Samsung, they're big enough to keep an eye on those factories and make sure that those are clean phones. I understand your concern, absolutely. But if you're getting it from a big company, not a Chinese company, so maybe that Moto isn't a good choice. But if you're getting it from an American company like Google and Apple, who have pretty strict controls on the manufacturer, I think you're probably all right. Yeah, it's funny. I had a phone made by Huawei, the Chinese manufacturer. Really nice phone, the P20. I really loved it. Beautiful camera. They make some of the best phones out there. But as you know, Huawei's been under a cloud. U.S. Commerce Department and Department of Defense both say you can't use Huawei devices here. So Chinese spy devices. And I do have to admit, when you first set up the P20, this was last year, one of the very first things it asks you, is it okay? Is it okay if we share information about how you use this phone with our parent company back in China? I said, yeah, you're pretty much giving it all up right now. Otherwise, you can't use the phone. Does anybody know where Google makes the Pixel 4a? Because that's a great phone. For almost anybody. I think the 4a is the best Android device out there. Can you get one that's made in India? You might be able to. Yeah, it's made by Foxconn, which is a Chinese company. But note that Foxconn is building factories all over the world. In India, for sure. They said they were going to build one in Wisconsin, never did. little flim-flam there. They hired employees at the end of the year 2019 for tax purposes, fired them in January. So I don't think they have any plans for that Wisconsin factory. But that would be nice, though. I would buy it. I would pay more, wouldn't you, for a phone made in the U.S.? Yes, I would. Support American jobs and manufacture. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if it cost, $20 more, $30 more, I would do that. I guess the 4A is going to be my recommendation, even though it's made in China. You might, if you look around, you might find one that Foxconn has made in its Brazil or India plants. They have plants in both those countries. That's a good question. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, maybe you have a phone that matches all of those criteria. Maybe you've got one. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, feeling all right. Richard on the line from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hello, Richard.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Richard.
Studios.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes, I remember you and you guys with screensavers and all of those nice programs.
Oh, the old Tech TV days.
Yes, I should wallpaper my house with all those old logos.
Oh, that was really fun. I look back on that 20 years ago. We started in 1998, ran through 2004, and it was so much fun. And it was early enough in computing where it was all new and fresh and exciting, and I just loved it. I just loved it.
Well, that brings me to con you today because I'm putting another computer together, and I kind of got stopped because a friend told me to put Windows 10 on.
Yes.
Thought, oh, okay.
That's the current version of the operating system. Why would you put something older on?
Well, the reason why is because none of my old titles, software programs will run under 10.
Oh, well, that's no good.
No, because and the really weird thing is they're mostly Microsoft.
Oh, well, you just need to get the latest versions then.
Well, there's the problem. If you've been to Microsoft lately, they seem to diminish on their products. The sunset thing is gone.
So here's the deal. Which Microsoft programs do you want to use on your new computer?
Well, the ones right now I'm using Office, but I guess that's going to go the way of the dinosaur.
No. What else? Besides Office, what else?
Okay, Office, Money.
Money's gone. Money's been dead for more than a decade. Okay. You're right. That won't run on anything anymore. Okay, what else?
And then I have Front Page.
Yep, dead.
Adobe Acrobat 11.
You don't need. Oh, good news! Finally, you don't need that anymore. Okay, what else?
No, that's. What do you mean? I don't need it. I bought it. I paid for it.
I know, but yeah, okay. So here's the thing. The latest version of the operating system is important for a number of reasons, mostly security reasons. You might be able to buy a copy of Windows 7 if you go to eBay or Newegg, find an old copy somewhere, and use it, but Microsoft's not fixing it for security. And that means you probably shouldn't use it online. Now, if you told me I'm never going to put that computer online, I'd say go right ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But no, I need to do that.
Yeah.
I was doing
of course. Microsoft offers Office now as what it calls Microsoft 365. I think it's really a better solution. $60 a year, $6 a month if you want to pay by the month. That's a lot cheaper than buying the full Office package, which you can still do, but I don't recommend it. It's hundreds and hundreds of bucks. But you get the subscription. It's always kept up to date. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. Microsoft likes it because they know they're going to get $60 a year from you for the rest of your life. So they don't mind that. But it's a lot better than the $500 or $600 Office will cost you.
Well, yeah, I've been buying Office since 1997.
Right. So that's very painful. You also get a terabyte of cloud storage with OneDrive. That's nice because you can use that for backup or whatever you need it for. I think it's a good deal. I have to say, Money and Front Page, you're going to have to find a replacement for those because they're long gone.
I was thinking of Dreamweaver. Would that work?
Does Adobe still make Dreamweaver? That was a great... Frankly, I preferred Dreamweaver to... I don't think they make it anymore. Maybe they do. Let me see. Created by Mac... yeah, no, it's still available. Wow. That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So So the last release was June 2020, so it's still out there. I think Dreamweaver you'll like a lot. The problem is if you used Front Page to create websites, it's a website design tool. The only problem with that is you may have Front Page extensions that you use that are not standard. They only work with Front Page. So you're going to have to modify your website to make it not dependent on Front Page. That could be easy. That could be hard depending on what you did.
Yeah. Well, if you make it look good, then that's half the problem.
Yeah, Dreamweaver is great. The web has moved on quite a bit from the days of using these tools to create websites. I think there are better ways to do it now.
A tablet and a smartphone and a desktop. One website for $3.
Okay. Yeah, modern website design, that's what we call mobile responsive. Our sites like that, most modern websites, they will automatically reformat depending on the size of the screen, which means your users can, because nowadays you can't say, oh, my users are going to be on a 1024 by 768 screen. They're going to be in all kinds of different sizes, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have to use tools that will make it mobile responsive. I'm sure Dreamweaver does that, but there are even better ways to do it. I would probably look at a content management system like WordPress or Squarespace, something like that, that will do that all for you transparently without you doing anything. You can focus on the content and let them handle the formatting. So I guess bottom line, what I'm saying is I'm an old timer like you. I know I miss those good old days, but times have changed, and it's time. If you're building a new PC, I think you got to move with the times. You need to use Windows 10. You're probably going to want to get Microsoft 365, and you're going to want to look at more modern tools for finance, web design. It's just the way it is. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. I knew our chat room could come to the rescue. Lawn Dog, who's another old-timer, likes old stuff, has an answer for our caller who is saying, I need a smartphone with, get ready, the checklist, a removable battery, a headphone jack, not made in China, under $500. Did I get everything? Oh, it has to have a clean Android, not a lot of junk. And Lawn Dog says he's using an LG. Now, it's 4 years old, but you probably could find it if you searched. LG V5987. Made in South Korea, replaceable battery, headphone jack. He says about 4 years old, so it is an older model. And I think that's probably what's going to have to happen. If you have all of those check boxes and you really got to have them, I can understand why you might say that, but it's the way of the world. Things change. And I wish I could get a Surrey with a fringe on top, but they just don't make them anymore. It's just, sorry. John in St. Petersburg, Florida. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, John.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. What's up?
So I have some VoIP questions for you.
Voice over Internet Protocol. Okay.
Yep, that's about the only lingo I know.
It's a good lingo.
Very little knowledge.
It's good lingo. Basically using the internet and data for phone calls instead of the old phone system.
So I think it's where I'm headed because I'm having issues with phone calls. So I'll be on the phone, and then people will tell me that I'm cutting out and they're losing me and they can't hear me. So I called Verizon, and then they came and installed this. I guess it's an extender.
Yeah.
Where there's this.
It's called
through the skylight, and there's an antenna.
Oh, wow.
Attached to it.
Oh, they put a cell phone antenna in your house. Wow.
They said that I'm at the edge of where the tower can reach.
Right. So they have a cell tower, but it's, a mile away from you. So you're only getting, a quarter of a bar signal. And that's why you're dropping. When you move, if you get something in between you and the signal, you're just dropping out. And it's your location. Now, Verizon's incentive to keep you. They like that $100 a month you give them. So they're going to try to make it work. But, you don't have to stay with Verizon. It may be that Sprint, T-Mobile, that's one company now, or AT&T has a cell tower that's closer.
Okay.
Are you in a rural area, John, or are you in the city?
Well, I mean, it's a town subdivision, so there's a lot of homes in the area.
Yeah. Yeah, you might ask your neighbors, do you use T-Mobile or do you use AT&T? How do you like it? Because they may have better signals. It really is dependent on the company and where their cell towers are. And there's no way, you can't go to the coverage maps. Unfortunately, these guys won't tell you. I wish they would. I wish it'd say, yeah, we got a tower. It's over there on 14th Avenue. And you'd go, oh, good. That's only 500 yards away. Perfect. But they don't tell you that.
Yeah, so I'm getting to the edge of my technical knowledge here, but I know that we have fiber coming into the house. So,
yeah. So you're using Verizon as your landline or as a cell phone only?
As a cell phone. I don't have a landline.
You don't have one. So it is your phone. Right. Yeah, so if you got Verizon's fiber, you'll get much faster bandwidth, and they will offer you phone service that uses that fiber instead of the twisted copper lines that you used to have going into a house. And that should work just fine. But it's not cellular service. Soon as, when you go out of the house, you'll be back on the cell tower, obviously.
Okay, so then there's a chance that I'm not using the fiber for phone calls then. That's my issue.
They will offer it to you. Just every company does. They say, you want the triple play? You want TV, data, and voice? And if you say yes to that, then you'll be using their fiber data line for your phone calls. But it doesn't replace a cell phone. It replaces a landline.
Okay.
As soon as you go out of the house, you're back on the cell. So I would either look at a different carrier or you can get something from Verizon. So what they put in there, which is interesting, it's an interesting choice. Did they charge you for this?
Yeah, they did. Now I'm finding out I probably shouldn't have gotten it because it didn't really help.
Didn't help. Yeah, because you're too far away. So they gave you a network extender. But they also offer microcell service. They call it, well, maybe it's the same thing. Does it connect to your internet or just you said it's an antenna going out the?
If there's this box that's I think connected to the internet.
Oh, okay. So they did give you the microcell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea there is it uses your internet connectivity. You still pay cell minutes, ironically, even though it's using your internet connection. The antenna must be for the GPS because they need GPS location as well, and it's like putting a cell tower in your house, but you're still, that's what they said. Yeah, but you're still not getting good connectivity.
No, it's the calls dropping in and out. So
now I'm going to suspect the phone. What kind of phone?
It's a relatively new Samsung.
All right, those are pretty good. You shouldn't be having dropout.
Maybe I should have them come back out because I may have done something where it's not working right. Well, I thought that I was in a situation where I was going to have to use VoIP because I've got good internet, and then that would alleviate the issue.
Well, and there is probably a setting on that phone for Wi-Fi calling. I would turn that on. What's your internet connectivity there? Is it pretty good?
It is, but I do everything with Ethernet, so I don't know. Maybe my Wi-Fi is not that great.
I would try that. I would turn that on in the phone. Wi-Fi calling. Basically, it's like a femtocell, except you use your Wi-Fi. The phone, by the way, the phone calls with Wi-Fi calling can be very high quality because they'll use more bandwidth if it's available. So you may find that's a solution. Have you turned that on? Have you tried that?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what I'm using.
That's different than the box they put in there. That's something you do on your phone. You go to the phone dialer app, you go to the settings, and you turn it on, Wi-Fi calling. Verizon offers it, and so does your Samsung phone if it's a late model phone. And you can then, once you've set that up, your phone won't try to use the cell tower or even the microcell they put in your house. It'll just use your Wi-Fi.
Okay.
See if that might be a solution. But again, the other solution is to see if another carrier is going to have a closer by cell tower, and you won't have to deal with that.
Okay, so you're kind of thinking it's going to be easier to solve this without just switching over to VoIP for everything.
The switching over to VoIP is not something it's meaningless in this context. You can't switch over to VoIP.
Backed into a corner.
You can't. So with a cell phone, you are using VoIP by the way. You're using voice over LTE, which is VoIP. If you're using Wi-Fi calling, it's also VoIP. So you're already using it. Okay. The microcell that they put in there, if that didn't help, boy, that's giving you a lot of signal. What are the bars on your phone? Are they full, or are they the cellular reception? Does it look good on your phone?
Right now it does, but I think it goes up and down.
So it might be location. It might be it could even be the antenna in your phone. I would try a different. If your friend can come over and use your phone and use his phone and see how his connection is. I think I was just getting confused on VoIP is
Verizon
when you
the data, but I think that they also are providing the Wi-Fi. I think it's Frontier, same company. So
yeah, but that wouldn't change your cell service. That would be a landline. And it would be VoIP also. The truth is everything's VoIP now, so it's almost meaningless to say VoIP. Very few providers still use the old phone lines. They're almost all using voice over internet. I think there's clearly an issue. Could be the phone, could be the location of the cell tower, could be just Verizon. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, so it sounds like some places in the house are better than others.
Definitely, yeah.
And if you're closer to the femtocell, the microcell they put in, is it better there?
Yes.
Yes. So then it might be the construction of your home is getting in the way. Cement walls, or is it a really older home, or?
No, I don't think so.
Can you get more than 100 feet away from the thing they put in? Maybe you're too far.
Yeah.
You sound great right now. You sound fantastic. So,
well, I'm not there right now because I was worried I was going to.
Oh, okay. You went to a neighbor's. All right.
Sometimes it'll just.
That's so annoying.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, that's so annoying. I completely understand. It's just a tricky thing to figure out. If you got the Verizon fiber service, you would be getting VoIP service as your land phone number. It doesn't impact your cell phone. Okay. So, and the problem you have is with cell phone, you don't even care about a landline. So, it wouldn't be the solution for your cell phone.
Well, I got to find a solution somehow. So if it is like I need to start using a landline, that's okay. I got to be able to make calls out of here and not lose people.
Well, your landline, if you got the fiber and you got the triple play bundle, which gave you voice, yes, it should be very good. Because now it's not using a cell tower at all. It's using your internet connection. And because it's fiber, there's a lot of bandwidth. In fact, your calls should sound superb.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Well, then I'll work on that. That sounds...
Yeah. So if you just say, no, I just need a phone that works. I don't care if it's a cell phone or just a landline. I just need a phone that works. Then yes, absolutely. Not Uverse, but the Verizon fiber solution would be great. Now, you said it's Frontier. That's worrying me. Is it Frontier or is it Verizon?
Well, I think it used to be Frontier, but I don't think it is anymore.
No, they went bankrupt.
Changed. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So you're getting it from Verizon,
but it's not anymore.
Yeah. As long as they went under because they were such a terrible company. So if the FiOS that they were offering, they apparently acquired the Verizon FiOS in California, Florida, and Texas. So that's why it became Frontier. I would inquire what's going on because Frontier is a nightmare company. They're still in business. Okay, so it was Verizon. It is Frontier now. I would be careful about Frontier.
Yeah, they weren't very helpful. I mean, they came in and installed this. Essentially.
Well, Verizon did that, I think, not Frontier, because you have a Verizon phone. Frontier bought their cable operations, but they also bought their fiber optic network in your area. So, and then they are hated in Southern California because they just were terrible, and now they're having problems because their executives decided that it wasn't worth upgrading their hardware at all, And it's just, oof. But you know what? Maybe it's okay in St. Pete. I don't know. You should ask around and see what your neighbors are saying.
Okay. Well, yeah. I appreciate your help on that.
I don't know if I helped at all. It sounds like I made it worse.
You got me started for sure. You definitely got me going.
Yeah. So VoIP would be for a landline. You'd still have your cell phone problems. If you wanted to get your cell phone better phone might help. Different phones have different radio capabilities. Sometimes some phones are better at that than others. Dropping calls could just be a bad phone. Take a look at Wi-Fi calling. That might also improve the situation. Appreciate the call. Hope I didn't make it worse. Thank you for letting me do this show. Let me into your life. I appreciate it. It's kind of fun to hang with you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks, of course, to Professor Laura, our musical director. Letting her hair grow long, got the baton. She's spinning the discs. That's a confusing metaphor there because you don't use a baton to spin discs. So I'll have to figure out which she is. Is she a DJ or an orchestra conductor? Which are you, Professor? She's a DJ. Okay. Spinning the discs then is appropriate. Thanks to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel, answering the phones. Thanks to all of you who listen and call. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Letting me do this is great. Claire in Boston, Massachusetts. Hello, Claire. Leo Laporte. Did you feel an earthquake this morning?
I did not. I was bumming.
Yeah. I mean, what's the deal, man?
I know. It was about, 40, 50 miles at the epicenter from me.
Yeah.
Thank you in advance for taking my call. Go ahead.
Of course. Yeah, I was just going to say, I grew up in Providence, and I don't remember any earthquakes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had a few over the years. They're always 3s or 4s, and I don't think they even
No, that's just a little tremble. That's nothing. Wouldn't even make a candle go flicker. What can I do for you, Claire?
So my brother-in-law, who was a tech freak, like he had the whole Betamax thing, his first calculator had the pen, he's always been on the cutting edge. He had this horrific, called a brainstem stroke 10 years ago.
Oh, no.
So can't speak, can't move, anything. He can now, if we position, he can touch an emergency thing if it's positioned just right or whatever. It's so awful. But in this day and age, my fingers are nubs from Googling. So there's Alexa all over the house, and everybody can say, "Hey, Alexa, do this and that." But what I'm hoping that there is some mechanism, because he can make noise, he can speak in sort of, and very hard to understand. But I'm wondering if you have an idea for an interim, so he could say Leo, 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 and that would then say
it's a noise that he could make. Yeah. Google did a lot of work. They even showed it with this for people with disabilities to make their voice assistant work with that. It's a very difficult thing to do because, as you might imagine, everybody sounds different. So it would be very customized to that individual. Amazon.
That's what I'm thinking. It would be like something, and I would have I'd ask him to make 20 sounds.
Right.
And those would just be 20 commands.
Yeah, I don't know of anything like that, but Boston has a Center for Independent Living. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I've tried everything. I've gone through the MIT directory and sent. I've been working hard.
Try. So what the Center for Independent Living does, besides advocacy and other things, they have this whole area is called accessibility. You're probably familiar with it by now, but they have accessibility experts. And the reason accessibility is so challenging is everybody's different. And so everybody needs a different solution. And of course, Amazon is not in the business of making custom solutions for individuals. They want a mass market, somewhat so with Google too. There are, Dr. Mom, who is our Echo expert, says you can set up routines on your Echo, but he'd still need to use a trigger word. He'd either need to use the A word or Amazon or computer or Echo. And if he can't say
it would never sound.
Yeah, if he can't say any of those.
It would never sound like Alexa.
Yeah. Boy, I would love to figure out a way to do this. I think.
Oh my God, you would have so many cookies.
Oh, just what I don't need, Claire.
There'd be Full House cookies with walnuts.
Oh, you're killing me here.
Lifetime supply. It's such a huge issue.
Of course it is.
For him.
So you've called the Independent Living Center in Boston?
I've gone through the whole gamut. Eastern Fields has a great, they just, they don't have, it doesn't, as far as I know, it doesn't exist. And that's why I was hoping to call.
Yeah, I don't think it does. How about a button?
Yeah, but the problem with that for him is it has to, so that the button has to be positioned exact, because he can move his hand, a quarter of an inch.
And is he inside? He's fine. He just can't.
Absolutely. Oh, he's brilliant.
Isn't that horrible? He just can't communicate.
So horrible.
With Stephen,
with the radio. Go ahead.
With Stephen Hawking, they had to build an entire custom system for his specific disabilities.
And he copyrighted his voice, I understand.
That's right. And he was able to speak. It was amazing. But he was Stephen Hawking, and he had a lot of companies willing to spend millions of dollars
That's right.
to do that. And that leaves people like your brother-in-law just kind of out in the cold.
I was hoping maybe somebody listening might have an idea. Or
please, if you do, call me or email me, and I will get the information to Claire. I would contact the various accessibility experts, and you're just going to kind of keep going around and see if one of them is willing to custom, because it's going to have to be custom design.
It has to be semi-custom, but the other thing is I think there's a huge market for something like this.
Well, as I said, there's a video. You can watch it. Google's been working on this. They showed it at their developer conference a year ago, getting their Google Assistant, which is a little smarter than Echo, to be able to understand people with disabilities who have speech issues. And it was pretty impressive. There's a guy working at Google on this.
The name?
Let me see if I can find that for you, because it was a really amazing demo. But the problem is, they do this thing. It's great showpiece for them.
Right.
And then, how much more they've done, I don't know. There probably is an accessibility program at Google that you could write to and say, tell them your story. And maybe they would be willing to take it on. Your brother has about the brother-in-law has about the worst condition I can imagine. He's locked in. He's alert. He's aware, but his body is not communicating. And I feel for you, and I feel for him. And he's lucky that
he's an extraordinary human being.
Of course. Yeah.
It's an extraordinary thing. But I do appreciate your time.
Yeah. I will
leave my information.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on hold, leave your information. I will do some research. I'll send you at least an email of what I can find.
Leo, you rock.
Well, I don't know how helpful I'm going to be, but I'll do what I can. And anybody listening, please 8888 Ask Leo, or get in the chat room, or leave a comment at the website techguylabs.com. Google called it Project Euphonia, EUPHONIA. And if you Googled Project Euphonia, you'd be able to find the demo video, which was very impressive. But that was, 2019. I haven't heard anything about it since. And I don't honestly know, if these companies do a lot of stuff in the labs. They're always working. And I think they're very genuine in wanting to solve it. But whether they've ever ended up producing anything that can make a difference is another matter entirely. And as far as I know, I've never seen anything since. And again, because it's so specific to each disability, so different, and the sounds that he makes, for instance, are different. But look for Project Euphonia. You can read up about it. It's a research project they're doing. It's very much what you're talking about. At least, that's a lead. Scooter X has put up a link in the chat room. We'll put it in the website at techguylabs.com. It's sites.research.google/Euphonia, Project Euphonia. Focused on helping people with atypical speech be better understood. So it sounds like it's kind of what you're looking for. Thanks to you all. I really appreciate getting to spend this day with you. I hope you stay safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next week. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.